Hi everyone, and welcome to our video on a tree diagram application with probability. So we left off on the last video doing a tree diagram, and other videos we had them too, but they're erased now. Here's kind of an abstract one where they give us this paragraph. Alright, so what we want to do is figure out how to create the tree diagram, and then from there we'll be able to answer their questions. Okay, so in this problem it says, a survey reported that 52% of the dogs in Ladybug City go to the groomers monthly. Of these dogs, 64% have long coats, while 14% of the dogs that do not get monthly grooming have long coats. Let A represent dogs that get groomed monthly, and B represent dogs with long coats. Alright, so here's how we're going to break this down. So to create this tree diagram, well, if A represents the dogs that get groomed monthly, so often you want to think about the opposites before going and setting everything up. So if A represents dogs that get groomed monthly, the complement of A would be the dogs that don't get groomed monthly. So this A prime here, the complement of A, is not groomed monthly. Okay, so that can help set us up the initial like that. Okay, so it says, and then let's go back and read it. So it says, a survey reported that 52% of the dogs in Ladybug City go to the groomers monthly. Okay, so 52%, so that's what's matching with A for representing the dogs that get groomed monthly. So that would be 0.52 for the A branch. And then that means the percent would be 48% for the dogs that do not get groomed monthly. So that would be 0.48. Okay, so that's why we want our not groomed monthly, so that we have a good branch to go. And then afterwards, it says, of these dogs, so they're talking about the ones that are groomed monthly. So the ones that are groomed monthly, of those dogs, 64% have long coats. So it's saying from here, so of A after that, now we're setting up our other branch. Then they're talking about the long coats. Okay, so the long coats, they said, is B. B represents long coats, which means, let's go ahead and write it right underneath also. We want its complement set up with it. If B represents dogs with long coats, well, the complement would be dogs with not long coats or short coats. Let's just say it like that, dogs with short coats. Okay, so, and they say, of those dogs, 64% have long coats. Okay, so there's the 64, which means the 0.36 would be the dogs that do not have long coats that are getting groomed monthly. Okay, so that, again, that's why we want that complement set up. And then, well, with like most tree diagrams, we would break the second part of the A prime down there to be the B and the not B when it splits. Okay, and let's see what else it says. It says, while 14% of the dogs that do not get groomed monthly have long coats. Okay, so not A is the dogs that are not groomed monthly, and it says 14% of those dogs do not get monthly grooming have long coats. Okay, so 14% of these dogs have long coats. So that's that 0.14 right there, which means the percent would be 86 that have short coats. So 0.86 is the bottom branch. Okay, so there we go. So we've got it. And then from here, we've got the probability of A, B would be those 0.52 times the 0.64. And then we'll wait for a calculator, and let's get these other ones. This would be A, not B, would be the 0.52 and the 0.36. Here we've got the probability of not A and then B, which would be the 0.48 times the 0.14. And then our last one is the probability of not A and then not B. So the 0.48 and the 0.86. Okay, so there's all of the setup. All right, and then we can find all those. Let's go ahead and get all those decimals. So in my calculator, we've got 0.52 times 0.64, which is 0.3328. Okay, and I'm going to just do these real fast by the side instead of dragging it over each time. The 0.52 times the 0.36 would be 0.1872. The 0.48 times the 0.14 turns out to be 0.0672. And then the last one, the 0.48 times 0.86 gives us 0.4128. Okay, so there's all of the probabilities. All right, and then now we still need to make sense and make sure that we can answer whatever they want us to answer. So in this number 2, it's asking, what is the probability a randomly chosen dog in Ladybug City has the following: a long coat and gets groomed monthly? Okay, so let's further break down these, the A and B, so forth. Okay, so in words, this A is the dogs that get groomed monthly, and this dog has a long coat. So this is the probability the dog is groomed monthly and has that long coat. Let's go ahead and do these ones also in words, just so even if we don't need them, it's good practice. So the symbols would be the probability that it's groomed monthly. Probability groomed monthly. But the not B is short coat. So, and has a short coat. Okay, and then let's get these ones. Okay, so the not A is not groomed monthly. So this represents the probability the dog is not groomed monthly. And then B is that it has a long coat. So probability not groomed monthly and the dog has a long coat. And then this last one is the probability that it's not groomed monthly. And the dog has, well, not B is short coat and has a short coat. Okay, so that's further breaking these ones down to help with this problem. Okay, so the long coats and gets groomed monthly. Okay, so where is that? Probability, well, the long coat ones and groomed monthly happens to be this one right here. Let's go ahead and put a star by it. Has a long coat and is groomed monthly. Okay, so the order here doesn't really matter. If it's groomed, if it's groomed monthly and has a long coat, that would be the same as it having a long coat and is groomed monthly. Okay, so that one we could just answer. It's based on this. The wording's a little different, but it's still the same. Okay, so the probability long coat. Let's go ahead and write it like this. So long coat is B. Let's use the and symbol and groomed monthly. So order here does not matter with and. So these are the same. Okay, and it is the 0.3328. So it doesn't matter which one. I'm just writing them both still. Let's go ahead and just box that first one. That's it. Okay, so this tree diagram can give you more information than maybe what we thought. So here here we are using the and symbol because it's two different events, and we could say and to let us know. Well, again, and order doesn't matter. So it's both. Okay, and I think it makes sense too when we start to say it in words. Groomed monthly and has a long coat is the same as has a long coat and is groomed monthly. Okay, so for number 2 though. Number 2 is just having a long coat. Okay, so this is also in our tree diagram. It's not specifically stated. Okay, so here's where we want to look at. So has a long coat. So here the type of grooming doesn't matter. So they're only focused on whether or not it has a long coat. Well, there are 2 of them. I'm going to mark them with a big open dot. It's this statement is where they have a long coat. And then this statement is also where they have a long coat. But these are the two different styles of grooming. That's fine. We could say still the probability that it's a long coat is the sum of these. So that's either this one. So it's the probability, I'm going to write it like this, or the probability of not A, B, or in this case is to add the two together. So it's the ones that only have long coats. Plus, okay, so the 0.3328 plus the 0.0672. So let me get my calculator again. Here it is. Okay, so the 0.3328 plus the 0.0672. 0.4. So it's exactly 0.4. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so the probability that a dog has a long coat in this town is 0.4. And we could change these to percents as needed. Okay, so if we needed to, let's just move the decimal over 2 to the right and then put the percent symbol. Okay, so notice, so again, the tree diagram gave us this information. It didn't state that right away. It doesn't show that, but it's there. Okay, so it's in this problem. Okay, so we have to kind of make more sense of what these actually mean at the end of the tree diagrams to answer some of the questions. Okay, let's see this number 3. Number 3 is gets groomed monthly given it has a long coat. Okay, so given is back. Given is one of the key words that we've talked about before. So given that it has a long coat. Well, here I think is where you'd really want to use the formula now. So it's because the sample space is not as nice. So we talked about the word given before. On all those problems, those are the typical type of problems. But here's a challenge one where there's multiple events. So here's where I'm going to go ahead and write out. So the probability that it gets groomed monthly. Okay, so that's letter A. Given it has a long coat, that's B. So probability of A given B. The formula for this given scenario is the AND. So probability of A and B over the probability of just the second letter that's involved in the first given statement. Okay, so the probability of B goes down below. Okay, so well, what we found, so the probability that so this is the probability that the dog has a long coat. We just found that. That is right here. Probability of B is the 0.04. I'm just kind of squiggling it to double show it. And so that means that's where that can go. So that's the denominator. And while we also found the probability of it getting, well, not even groomed monthly. Here I'm just doing the whole formula. So the whole formula, that is taking that whole thing. Okay, so I boxed given. Let me fix that purple C. So I boxed the given to help get the setup going. But here I'm looking at the whole thing because I'm using the formula this time. And then, well, A and B, we have that. It's up here. The probability of A and B was 0.3328. Okay, so now, again, I can use my calculator to get my final answer for this problem. So 0.3328 divided by 0.4 is 0.832. So that's that probability. Okay, there we are. It's done. Okay, so that's how. So this is a good problem with given. So in our previous videos, I didn't really use this formula very often. I think I only used it once to show to check an answer. But here's an example where it is useful for us. Okay, so it's on rare occasions, but again, most of the time if they give you the word given, it's to change the sample space because often it's easier to work with. But this is more abstract, and so we can't really do that. Okay, anyway, so again, the main thing out of this is make your tree diagram. On these abstract ones where it gives you this weird word problem, it's going back and trying to figure out what do these actually mean. And that's where writing it out in words can be useful, because then you could also pick apart what's further useful if they do something like this with like the part 2 in it where they ask about long coats. Okay, so that's it. If you do have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.